Engage. Whoa!
Hello everyone, this is Jeff of TAOFLEDERMAUS. We have another creation from Justin from Utah. We first tested Justin's spicy Bisquick a few weeks ago, and it performed very, very well. Well, Justin also sent along some early designs. These are kind of orphan slugs because no two are exactly the same. Now they have some minor cosmetic flaws, but that just adds to their organic look. They sort of look like some kind of alien creation. But you can also tell that he spent a long time creating these things. In order to try to understand these slugs a little bit better, I had to ask him to give me some more details about them. Aside from the two in the middle that are clearly solid brass, the rest are the same construction, but clearly I wasn't good at consistency. I appreciate his honesty. The base is brass, I think, and the top part is bronze. The top part is angled in such a way that it should push those outer pins out upon contact. The pin should be tungsten TIG rods. It's a carbon fiber tube holding the top to the bottom. Inside the tube is granulated titanium, and the pokey bit is tungsten carbide fishing weight. They are obviously sealed up with resin. These are certainly a lot more complex than I ever imagined. Now this is what they look like loaded in the shells. All of them are using 30 grains of long shot, so we should be getting a velocity around 1,400 feet per second. Let's head out and see how they perform.
Okay, we are back out here, and this is the first sun I've seen in over 2 weeks. First time I've seen my shadow. So first target today is the wet Granger catalogs. It started out approximately half that thickness, 4 catalogs, and now it's 7.5 inches thick. So it's kind of like think of it like a vegan meat target. It's kind of like shooting a deer, what it would do to a deer. So over on the side here we have this is just for focusing the camera. I'm hoping that'll help me focus. I'm not going to shoot at that, but should help me get a good focus today.
The first slug we're testing today is called Crapsule 2 and is 1.18 ounces or around 33 grams.
Okay, shot number 1, slug number 1. Aiming at the center of the catalogs. Let's hit it. Whew. Hardly moved. Got 1380 on that one. Slugs. Let's hit it. Whew.
It's looking really promising for these slugs. The first shot flew very stable and very accurate. And for today's test, we are using a fully rifled barrel for that spin stabilization. Now, if this target was a deer, let's just say at that point it stopped paying taxes.
I'm really happy with that results. About as dead center as you could possibly imagine. I don't feel anything in there, nothing's poking my finger. And that's what it looks like from the side. And then out the back. Big damage. Let's see if there's any fragmentation in there. Let's see if those pins that were in this one broke apart or did anything like that. Okay, first catalog, just a hole. Another hole, just a nice clean hole all the way through, it looks like. No fragmentation, so the slug was probably just went right through that thing without any kind of fragmentation. I was really hoping to see all that internal structure break apart after hitting that dense material, but we didn't see that.
For the next slug, we have Crapsule 1. Yeah, I didn't get them in order very well, did I? Now, this is very similar to the first one, but slightly heavier. Now, this one has a little issue where the center pointed penetrator is not very well centered. It'll be interesting to see if that will greatly affect the accuracy or not.
Next target on slug number 2, 30-pound lead plate. It's about 1.5 inches thick. We'll be aiming just right at the center there. See if we get another accurate shot from slug number 2.
We have another beautiful flying slug traveling at 1,400 feet per second. And we saw a lot of pins flying and debris flying out the back, which is a good sign that we had complete penetration of the lead plate. We have a nice little smoke plume from all the heat of compression and friction as the slug slammed into that lead plate.
You know, sometimes I like it when I'm proved wrong. That one was not bad. Very close of hitting the center. Close enough that it could be just human error, right? So let me see if I can zoom in any more there. There we go. See the base of it? It looked like it hit nose first, of course. But did it go through? Yeah, not only did it go through, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Fortunately, we hit an area that was not hit before. I was worried about that. And look at that. We can see various pins. That's pretty cool. That is really cool. And I can see light through one of those pinholes.
Next slug is called Shard Fart 12. It is 1 1/4 ounces. Now it's similar to the first two, but has a red resin, of course, and some kind of granulated metal inside. I have no idea what that is.
Since he's like the harder targets, we're going to give him one. This is mild steel, 3/16 inch thick, which is what is that, 5 millimeters? I think it's 5 millimeters. Have it on a little bit of an angle just so the sunlight would lighten up or shine on the front of it. When it's in a shadow, then that doesn't help matters. So anyway, let's see if slug number 3 can penetrate this plate. All right, slug number 3, engage. Whoa.
Now this shot, we definitely had some stability issues. It's kind of tumbling along. It almost sort of hit nose first, but it did give us a nice fireworks show with all that metallic shavings and bits inside there. And as the plate turns around, we can see a nice big bulge, but no penetration of that mild steel plate. Now this slug was slightly undersized and out of spec, so we didn't have a really good tight sabot fit, so we had some slippage there.
We saw our first failure so far in our tests. That one was tumbling and inaccurate. If you're tumbling, chances are it's not going to hit where you're aiming. So see a little bit of brass smeared in that. It made a nice dent and everything. Kind of welded itself in there. I try to mess with that too much, I'll probably cut my hand. Beautiful bulge.
The next slug, although it looks like slug 1 and 2, is called Shard Fart 12 again. And this one is 1.27 ounces. So let's see how this one flies.
Slug number 4, pretty similar to the first two. So I have high hopes for this one. Engage. Like that. Shot low, possibly 1340 feet per second. Hopes for this one. Engage. gauge. Like that. Shot.
Now, although I had high hopes for this one, we did not get very good stability, but the good thing is it still hit nose first and ended up penetrating that plate. Sometimes you just get lucky and don't shoot the table by mistake.
Now, just initial review of the high-speed camera, looked like it was having trouble stabilizing itself as it entered the frame, and then straightened out and hit nose first. So brutal, actually, really really nasty damage to the plate there. This is 3/16 mild steel. Let's shoot it with a regular Foster slug and see what it does. People often request that. I don't have a lot of Foster slugs, believe it or not, but that'll also tell us if the shotgun's still zeroed in or not. This one is just a Foster slug or rifled slug if you prefer. It's a Herder's 1 ounce. Not sure the other specs as far as velocity goes, but this is usually what I use to check to see if the red dot is still zeroed or not. All right, Foster slug. Not sure if I got a reading on that. It says 1340. I think that was our reading before that. All right, Foster slug.
Now, according to the box, this is supposed to be traveling at 1,600 feet per second. Now, we can see that rifled slugs work great through a rifled barrel. We also see that the red dot is still zeroed. And we can also see that the slug did not penetrate our plate. So I think that was a very informative test. I'm glad I did it.
Whatever velocity that is, it was enough to puncture that plate. Get a lot of people on here who don't really understand what we're doing, that we're just doing experimental slugs that are made by our viewers, and we test them and see what they do. They're not ever going to be factory slugs or anything like that. But it's like, that doesn't do anything different than regular ammo. Well, it does, yeah. Just even this human-made or homemade slug, you can see that, big difference there. And no ricochet, it just kind of absorbed all the energy into that and then fell out. It still has a hard card behind it, part of the wad.
Okay, slug number 5 from Justin is also called Shard Fart 12. This one has a minor defect in the nose. It's a little cattywampus there. Let's see how this one does.
Yeah, after we shot the Foster slug, we now know that the red dot has not shifted. That thing couldn't have been more zeroed in. Really happy to see that. We do that every once in a while when we suspect the red dot might be bumped out of zero just from the recoil. Okay, let's see what this baby does. Here we go. Nice solid hit. That was only 1289 though. Might have been a little bit of a heavier slug. These all have 30 grains of long shot.
This target is 3/8 inch thick mild steel, and you can see that this slug also had some stability issues. But we had again a nice fireworks show. And it looks like some of the red resin actually broke off from the slug. So this one had a lot of issues. I guess we were lucky we hit the target at all, though.
Another very unstable one. What accuracy wasn't terrible. It shot just a little bit to the left, and it landed right underneath where the trident was. Was is the key word here, because it broke the trident. Oop. As it broke the trident, it was just like that. But our impact was right there.
Next slug is called the brass boop. It's quite a bit different than the other slugs, but I decided to test it out anyway because there's only a couple of these. This slug weighs in at 1.18 ounces.
Okay, number 6. Will number 6 fly well? Will it be accurate? And will it be enough to penetrate the 3/8 inch plate? Let's see. Hit it! 1289, it looks like. Hit it!
Yet another tumbling slug. Now, if I remember right, this one measured about 40 thousandths of an inch out of spec. And I tried my best to try to shim it up and do all my magic to make it engage the rifling, but it wasn't enough. Boop.
Now, I didn't mention where I was aiming on that one. I was actually aiming about right here. And we had almost the same thing that happened on that other shot, where it slapped the side, left a lot of brass there, but did not fly straight in. Another failure. That one might have been out of tolerance a little bit. A lot of these were out of tolerance, and I had to do some shimming and little things behind the back, you know, thicken up the sabots and stuff like that. Add extra sabots that are like 10 thousandths of an inch thick. So some of these were about 40 thousandths of an inch out of spec.
Slug number 7 is Brass Boop 2. Now, I definitely appreciate the engraving that he put on all these slugs so that we know exactly what they're called and all the specs and everything. I think he used a laser engraver, but it's a nice detail.
Okay, here we go. Oh, a complete miss. I think that made it all the way down to the berm, in fact.
Now, I was aiming right at the nose of that giant gummy bear from Clear Ballistics, and because it was tumbling, it was inaccurate and missed. But it made a nice little hissing sound as it tumbled down range. And that brings us to slug number 8, also called Shard Fart 12. This one does not have a very pointed penetrator. So let's see if we can get stability with this one. Yoink.
All right, slug number 8. We're almost at the end of this grueling test. Had some really good results and a couple really bad failures. Got a good mix today, huh? But at least it's t-shirt weather today, nice and sunny. Okay, again, shooting at the head. Okay, now that one seemed to work well.
Now, obviously, the bear turned his head in the last second, and he got hit in the ear. Now, in this shot, we actually see a very important clue, and here it comes. You can see the FS12 gas seal, and it is damaged. The lip on it is ripped. That means we had a gas seal blowout. Now, I've been seeing this occur way too often on this latest batch of gas seals I got.
You'd probably already seen it in the high speed, but yeah, it went quite a bit high to the right. It's unusual for California, right? And right through whatever's left of his poor ear there. So, man, nice hole. It just wasn't very accurate. We were actually kind of lucky to hit that thing at all.
And finally, we have slug number 12, also called Shard Fart 12. Now, this is, again, really similar to slug number 1 and 2, which worked quite well. So let's hope this last one is a winner. Final
target. Everyone wants to see ballistic gel. I don't think I'd hit a clear ballistic gel block with these things. And if I did, it was a very good chance of it tumbling. So we're gonna shoot at some Russian ballistic gel. That's right, a big log. It's about 3.5, 4 inches thick. Just aiming right in here, because I've got a few requests to shoot a log or a piece of wood or something like that. So since this proves that I read the comments and try your suggestions, so let's see if we can even hit it. I've moved it up about 5 yards, so we're about 10 yards away. So if I miss that, the slug is having some serious issues. The good thing is this slug is very similar to slug number 1 and number 2, so I'm having high hopes for this one working. All I can do is put the red dot where I hope it's gonna go and hope for the best. Come on, baby. Okay, that one I think functioned well. 1432, good velocity on those pretty heavy slugs. That's a good velocity for something that heavy.
And for our last shot, yep, we finally got our stability back and our sanity. Now the shot was just a tad bit high, but it went through the vast majority of that log. And it really appeared as it exited, it was still in one piece, much to my surprise. Let's take a look at it.
A hit's a hit. Not the best, most solid hit in the world, but good enough. It looks like you can see a mark right there. I think that's where it entered, and then it just plowed through that wood. So that's, 3.5 inches or so. Not bad. Kind of an interesting target. That was our last one. So what do you think is the problem here? I think it was just the design tolerances were just all over the place. Again, these are orphan slugs that he just threw in the box, probably just to get rid of. He probably thought I'd never shoot him, but I know he put a lot of work into these things, and I still wanted to give him his time in the sun. And isn't that nice when we have some sunlight out here? I love it. We're supposed to get another batch of rain next week, so that just means it's going to be foggy for the next month probably. After we get rain, get moisture, in the Central Valley here just becomes like a bowl holding all the overcast and fog in. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it wasn't a complete failure, wasn't a complete success, but we did have some good shots there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, maybe with Officer Greg.